Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Ooh.
How are
I'm going
you?
to be very distracted now, which is a cat.
That's okay, I can do it.
No!
Bye, Kylo. How are you getting on? It's probably almost E2, or has been E2, depending on how quickly I can edit
I'd be
these.
so surprised if you get these up before you do. I've seen your to-do list. But if you do it, I'll be impressed but also concerned. Like
That's my professional career. Impressive, but very concerned.
Yeah.
We are going to talk a little bit about what we are doing for E2.
Or planning to do.
Or planning to do.
Or have done.
And some of the stuff that's happened in downtime.
Yeah, a little bit about that. Because I think there's been a lot of interesting developments for both Dawn and...
No, it was a real weird noise.
It was weird.
The nature office is so often surprising. It was real weird. It was like a flamingo or something.
It's the problem with nature. It's by its very nature unpredictable.
Yes.
Get it? By its very nature.
By its very nature, yeah.
That wasn't even good.
No way I did that. Now, sorry. Back to you guys. Yes, we are going to be talking a little bit about what we plan to do at E2, or what we hope to get done, and then some very large things that have happened during
Yeah, both for Dawn
downtime.
and for Glade Warden.
Yes.
More Glade Warden.
much
Glade Warden has
bigger
a
things-
side of effect.
much bigger things have happened to Dawn, but interesting things have happened to Glade Warden.
Yes.
In our downtime activities. So,
I mean, I think
we got to jump right in.
Yeah, kick right into it. 'cause
For
I
the
think,
Glade Warden one, the biggest thing
yes, for sure.
is so Finton, my character, has been retired. Real feelings.
They actually are quite real.
Do we introduce it? Hello, welcome.
Yeah,
to...
I did. I had the whole cat. I said, "Welcome to Fake Swords, Real Cat."
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's real feelings. So, basically, what happened there is, I'm a peramble and ramble for a bit.
That's so unlike you.
So when I made Finton, he was made almost as a There's that house again. He was made almost as a reaction to
It's actually a house. That's the thing.
there's a house blowing around. Yeah. So when I made Finton, he was made.
So we're not liars. I'm never going to release this photo anywhere, but
You can ask to
but
see
there.
it.
Yeah, you can ask to see it.
Blue. It's a blue house.
See, well, I'll make sure you get the camera in there so it's like very, just ultimate proof, guys.
Yeah. Anyway, so
True journalism. That's what you're getting here.
So Finton was made at E1 last year.
Our very first event.
Our very first event. We rocked up as Tig and Ronan. And we told you everything that happened to Ronan. Ronan died protecting or saving Percival, all this jazz. And when we had the little bit of Glade Warden backstory at that point, and we had said, oh, there's a prick on the Glade Warden estate called Finton, and we think he might be the one who poisoned the Errol. And I died. Ronan died, and I got back to God, and they were like, so, do you have another character? And I was like,
Please do the voice first. So it's always my favorite part of this story.
what voice is this?
Yeah. Oh, did you die in the battle?
Oh, yeah. Oh, did you die in the battle? And I was like, I did. Sorry. And now, in fairness, that's a character. She was actually one of the nicest people ever. Like, but it was just very. Did you die in the battle? Like, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I hope that one of the religions is real and that's happened somewhere in an afterlife. Die in a battle.
Yeah, at the gates of Valhalla, like, oh, did you die in the battle? Okay, come on in.
But anyway, I was like, and she goes, do you have your new character? And I was like, Finton.
Like the only other person it could have been.
But he was made as a reaction, like, you know, so he had all of 4 seconds forethought for making this character, and I was like, wouldn't it be funny if? And that's not enough to really build a character on, for me at least.
Yeah.
And I found myself a little hamstrung by him role-playing wise, because I came in as a dick, right? Because the whole thing was Finton was a dick. Or at least he was perceived as a dick because of all this Glade Warden backstory.
Yeah. Which I've actually forgotten.
You are going to inherit his diary, so you'll get the
Oh, that's
the
exciting.
inside
That's
track
fun.
on it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just for myself as a role player, and this is something that happens to me with D&D and stuff as well. I kind of I put myself into a character who's very stoic and doesn't have much wiggle room for role play. Like he'll stand there and he'll be like, "All right, yeah, cool, let's do it." So I was getting a bit constricted by that, as well as kind of backing him into a corner of the game that I wasn't too enthused on myself. So like,
Because your like first proper event as him, you went to like the Earl's Council and stuff, right? Wasn't it?
yeah.
And so yeah,
And it wasn't for Jim.
no.
Right? It wasn't for Finton either, and I played it that way,
Yeah.
so I didn't do another. But like, there were times like where like my game was now being an Earl and being a Lance Commander, and I was like, neither of those are things I actually had any intention of doing. Now the Earl I took to fuck him over at E1 last year as a joke.
Yeah.
I just
not knowing that LARP would quickly become a very large part of our lives.
Yeah. I just showed up and I was like, oh yeah, fucking what? I threw the sword down on the table and I was like, what the fuck is this? He's dead. Well, you know what? So is your Earl. And guess who got voted new Earl back at the estate? What? Meta game. Not knowing at all what I was doing. I can't even remember. It was like you and Percival and Emery at the time at the table. And also...
And Robin and Oliver.
Robin and Oliver were at the table too, and I was just like, oh, it's me, my old character's twin. Like, hitting every fucking box you're not meant to hit when you roll a new character. Like.
Yeah.
But,
Great.
yeah, and Finton was my character for a year and a bit then, and I couldn't get him anywhere I wanted him to be. I wanted to be an adventurer, and I wanted to be off doing cool things and going on quests and stuff, you know? But he was saddled with like, oh, well, here's the stuff I have to do for the Lance, and then here's the stuff I have to do for the house, and my game was all outward facing. So
I think though on an OC level, you were really, really good as Earl of the House. Like just from like all of the like the medallions and all those kind of like
and
the
I had
effort
fun
you
with
put
it.
in.
I had
you
fun with
was
all
really,
that.
really good.
But I was getting not much game myself back from it. you
Yes.
know? It was all giving stuff to other people.
Yeah.
Which I'm delighted to do, but I want to experience a little bit of the Empire without feeling like I
Yeah.
have to be back at camp
Yeah.
doing Glade Warden things, you know? So, something has happened in downtime that I won't go into right now, because it'll just spoil a bit of story that's coming out for another player in the Lance.
Yeah.
But basically, Finton has had to go away. He's had to go over, I think he's in the Commonwealth, and he's hunting someone for the foreseeable future. He's not coming back. He can't come back.
Oh, I'm being haunted by Finton.
Yes, exactly. Who is that man following me with that large sword? But yeah, no. So he's not dead. He'll still be doing the Glade Warden and stuff and posting it back, I guess. But he is not going to be on the field anymore. But he sent all this information back up.
I would say
new
it
character.
probably make sense to have Finton have written like all 4 seasons of the Glade Warden at least for a year or something.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's if I can do the Glade Warden in the next 3 days. But,
Yeah. Oh yeah. That
we can tag team it tonight. It'll be fine.
yeah. Real life will determine that.
Yeah, but yeah, so my new character is as well, another big reason for me doing this is Glade Warden being so off brief for Dawn. Is I said I want to bring Glade Warden a little more back into Dawn, and this is big time inspired by like the tournament and stuff in the last event.
Yeah.
Because it was so much fun and we just want to embed ourselves in Dawn a little more.
We had like a real long conversation to kind of bet this. I think both of us had come to the same conclusion independently.
Yeah,
and
because
then
I was like, I'm doing something, and you were like, okay.
yeah, but then yeah, because I think I feel very much the same. Where it's like we came into it at the very start in E1 and E2 and stuff, being like, yeah, cool, let's go do all these trees, let's get involved in the Glory Square stuff, and then
Which had been fully our goal, was to like embed ourselves in Dawn.
yeah, and then obviously we made all of our friends, and I think just over the past couple of events, all of our focus has been on the game within that, which has been obviously great, and it's why why we've made this series, because we want to talk about it so much.
Yeah.
But I think it's made us both feel like a little bit
Tangential
tangential to Dawn.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like we're having a lot of fun ourselves, but we think we could have all of that fun, and then more if we start to get more involved. And I think there's a couple of other things that happened at E1 that kind of just led us both to be like,
yeah, for sure. Like all the kind of role play and stuff,
and even like the Senate elections and stuff that were going on.
Yeah.
We didn't cover that in our last video, but that was a whole thing.
and it's an ongoing thing as well. They're
Yeah.
having a re-election, so that's stuff that we're like, we just kind of cast votes or whatever last time, but we'd
Yeah.
love to get more into it as well, you know. So I said I'm going to roll up a character, but I'm going to make him far more Dawnish, you
Yeah.
know. And there's a bit of sacrifice that goes with that, obviously. So we had a thing where, like, you know, the Irish thing is like Glade Warden would always have Irish names, but again that moves away from it being Dawnish because
Yeah.
like Irish names are very Navari, or even like closer to like the kind of stuff you'd find in like Wintermark or Varushka, you know. Like they're not proper, like,
They're not Arthurian.
or they're not Arthurian
which
names,
is the main,
you know,
the main thing.
So instead of like, you know, I was thinking like, will I call him, what's an Irish name I could use, like fucking Liam or whatever, and I was like, no, I just lean into the Arthurian names, or not Arthurian, but certainly more like could have been a Franciscan name or a Spanish name,
Yeah.
you know. So I'm going to be playing Sir Caspian Dumarin. So still of House Glade Warden,
Yeah.
and still nobility, but a very, very different character altogether. So he's kind of a privateer. He owns a boat, and his whole thing is about like voyaging and discovery. He travels the world, even a little bit outside of the Empire, kind of just looking for new knowledge to unearth. And,
Just adventure.
a bit of adventure. He's Nathan Drake, but
Oh God.
no, but I was like, oh yeah, look, I think he's going to be a lot more fun to kind of get into Dawn, because Finton didn't have, I don't think he had the potential to embed himself in Dawn to that degree, really, that Caspian would, you know?
Yeah.
Play style wise, I'm doing something I really have wanted to do, and this spurred from in the last episode when I told you I jumped over the battle line. Jumping Jim. That moment made me realize something, and this is like almost paradoxically going away from brief a little bit again.
Yeah, I mean, you can never expect Glade Warden to be fully on brief.
Yeah,
'cause
but
we're just-
I mean, this lore-wise, he's completely embedded in Dawn, but just play style-wise, I
Yes.
kind of want to play him like a monk, like a full-on like
D&D monk.
D&D 5e monk, you know, like the monk from fucking Diablo or something, you know?
Yeah.
So I've built him up as if I were building a regular martial class, but with magic, with mana to burn instead of hero points.
Yeah.
So one of the things I noticed, well, it just wants to be closed. One of the things I noticed was, and this is something harking back to even E2 last year, is when you did your test of metal.
Yes.
How effective we are when we're not in Clank.
Yeah.
Wildly so, or not in bad Clank, like your new armor lets you move and stuff.
Yeah.
But when I jumped over the line with the staff in my hand, and like parried the blow in the air and landed and took a few combat moves, I was like, that was the most fun I've ever had in Empire. Why am I playing a class that I'm not enjoying as my main? Why am I having more fun with this combat style? And I was like, it occurred to me that a lot of the magicians and stuff, the mages and the battle mages, are coming at it from a magic first point of view. They're like mages who fight, but I want to try and build a character that is a fighter who has come onto some magic ability and is augmenting that. So I've
Which fits so well with the Glade Warden brief that
Yeah.
we're all like sword warriors first and foremost.
Yeah, and this is fully building that sword monk vibe.
Yeah.
While keeping
So
as
it's
much as I
super
can
cool, I think. I
kid
think it's
and
really
stuff
cool. Yeah.
Dawnish.
Yeah.
He is very much like a seafaring sword monk,
Yeah.
right? So he's got like repel and shatter to augment his staff moves. So if he comes up against a strong opponent, his primary weapon is a staff, but he's going to be wielding it like a quarterstaff as opposed to a, like, you know, you'd often
Instead
see
of like a
mages,
polearm stuff.
like
Yeah,
a polearm. He's going to be in like almost a boxing grip with it. Funny story, I badly threw my back out a week ago. I was in hospital and everything for it. So I've been trying to get myself moving again before Empire. I'm going to have a little, as of this moment, little training video down here so you can see my progress.
Oh yes, that's a good one.
Learning with, like, because I actually used to compete in martial arts with staff. It was like the main thing I did.
Yeah.
But it's been a few years since I actually picked it up, so I took it up again there the other day and I was just drilling with it, and I really do think he's going to be, because it's not something people are used to. When they see staff, they're expecting someone to stand there and shatter, but not to be moving around like ducking.
They're expecting a staff to be used as a magic casting implement, not a weapon.
Yeah, so I'm going in full, and I think I've seen people do it, but I think I can do it as well.
I'm sure they have.
Do it very, very well.
Yeah.
But he's
there's no original thought in the world.
No,
so.
he's 100% going to be like a 5e monk,
yeah.
basically, using a quarterstaff as his primary weapon. Now he'll have this weapon. I also spec'd him into hero points. So he's going to. I'm going to get this enchanted to have a couple of cleaves, because a part of his backstory is that he did something he regrets with a sword. So he'll only take the sword out as a very, very last what's the word I'm looking for? Resort kind of thing. So he always has. He's glade
so
one.
you can cut their life into pieces.
Totally injection. Well, that's canon now. Yeah, so he's got. I think he's going to be super fun to play, and it's a build I don't often see, and I'm excited to explore a little bit.
Here's a question for you. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, go on. No, I was just going to say, because I think it's going to be very powerful. We've said this before a few episodes back when we were talking about Alan and Tori.
Yeah.
How a little bit of competency with a weapon, like hard skill, paired with the in-universe magic, really makes you a force to be reckoned
yes.
with. A weapon to be
a weapon to be
with.
forced with.
A force to be weapon reckoned with. But that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm going to go in for that vibe and absolutely just be like running all over the battlefield, like jumping over fucking lines, hiding in trees.
See, okay.
Nonsense.
I have, so I've got two questions for you.
Yes, let me have a drink
on
first.
Caspian.
It's really hot.
Yes, it is very hot. So, obviously, your jump and gym moment from the Marthas in E1 was very much, because if you die, you're a Martha, it doesn't matter.
Yes, and I didn't die.
And you didn't. But do you think you're going to have that same kind of cavalier attitude?
It won't be. The plays won't be as high risk.
Especially now, because this is your third character. Are you trying to get addicted to re-rolling characters?
I've already decided I'm going to call this episode "Many Characters, One Player."
Nice.
But yeah, no. I'm certainly not. No, my intention is that Sir Caspian is in it for the long haul.
Okay.
So I'm not going to be Martha level of cavalier.
Sure.
But I certainly, if I see opportunity for shit like that,
you're not going to hinder yourself, or
yeah. And I think as a role-playing boon, I'm going to get my staff hallowed.
Nice.
To something that'll drive him that way. So I'm thinking ambition or pride, maybe. I want
or
it to be
courage.
One of the, maybe courage, because I want it to be one of the house virtues.
Yes.
So I might get it, like, as one of the first things I do at E2, get the staff hallowed to courage. So then, in those moments, I will, break the lion, call a shatter, or something like that. Because that's something that he's definitely going to very often open with, like, a big play.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to start a combat with a shatter and then go in just on hard skill with a quarterstaff after the fact. So yeah, that's kind of my line of thinking on that one. You had two questions.
So second question then.
Yes.
Obviously, with Alan / Tori as a member of the Rod and Shield, do you see yourself going into the magic game in any
that's something
sense,
that's quite
or?
interesting, because in his backstory he's travelled all over, so he now in his travels is going to have started collecting magical practices and stuff just out of interest, because I have a really nice bit of backstory for how he discovered his magic. I emailed PD about it, so I'm not going to say too much about it here. Suffice to say,
it might change.
It might not be a runner or whatever, But his whole backstory is that he was traveling with Ronan, Tig, and Errol Donal at the time on a boat, and his father and a storm came along.
What's his father's name?
Coca-Cola. His father's name is Con. Conbor.
Nice.
Con Bordeaux.
Nice. Which is also, we have some female characters in there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. he was traveling with his mother, whose name was Win Epic Prizes.
Her name was Coke Studio.
Her name was
Recycle me.
Reslike Marin. And Reslike, so this storm hit anyway, and Reslike got knocked from her feet and took a knock on the head, and then Cass was thrown overboard holding onto a guideline, and Errol Donal was trying to pull him back up but failed. They lost grip, and as he was torn away, Errol Donal yells and to give him a test of mettle.
Yeah.
And so your test of mettle is survive and return, because he was...
Which is cool.
Yeah, I think it's a really fun
Like, it's just,
for a
that's
seafaring story.
That's just cool. Yeah.
So then the whole vibe is that he washes up on an island, clings to a bit of driftwood for a few days, absolutely marooned on this island. There's fruit, there's running water, you know, but he's stuck there for quite some time. There's also some old ruins from, forgive me, I can't remember the name of the empire that came before Empire. But there's ruins from around the time of the first empire, the preceding empire. And he just can't do anything with them. But, oh, I'm getting a phone call, sorry guys.
Oh, interesting. Is it a robot again?
It's from Foster.
Do you know we're recording this?
So tempting to call James, see if he's professional, turn his phone on. I wasn't. Hold on. You're about to be
fucking called out. Holy shit.
I don't know if it'll pick this up. Hello, how's it going? You're live on Fake Swords, Real Feelings.
Yeah, I was just seeing if you were professional and whether you put your phone on silent. That's all I wanted to do.
I didn't.
He didn't.
I didn't.
I don't know why you expected professionalism from this channel.
Yeah. Very good.
Well, that's true. I set the bar high. My apologies.
No, that's okay. I don't know why you expected more than the bare minimum. Have you any words for our viewers, Foster?
Or yourself in the future.
Say again?
Have you any words for our viewers?
Yeah, don't listen to Finton, and thank God he's retiring.
Yeah, that's actually what we're talking about at the moment. So yeah cool, right. Good talking to you.
I'll leave you to it.
Yeah, bye. Now, our first guest.
This is the only way we're going to accept guests. Poorly dialed in Discord calls.
Did we not make it clear that this is a call-in show? It should have been made clear. We never publish when we're recording. But, right, time to just very quickly put this on anti-Foster mode. Where was I? Yes, so he was on this island. Long story short, he was there for quite a while. But then some more debris from the storm washes in, and inside that he finds a mana crystal, which actually, when he picks it up and yells in a moment of frustration, activates, and he realizes he has magical capacity, and that helps him get off the island. But I can't tell you how until PD approves it. But yeah, so what was the question? Magical stuff. He's going to be traveling the world, and now that he knows he's magic, he's going to be like collecting the different ways of casting and stuff. So like, if he sees like the music of the spheres, that's going to be really interesting to him, and he's going to be like, oh, how can I do this with a shanty? Or, you know, if he sees like, say, a Navari doing some, like crushing some leaves into a potion or something, he's going to be like, oh, that's really cool. Is that magic? It's not? Okay, whatever. You know?
Yeah.
But like shit like that. So yeah, I think I am, but not initially, but I am going to bring him into the magic game a little more. Definitely going to be getting him into the coven that Tori is making.
Yeah.
So after this event, I'm going to take a thing in lore, you know, and summer lore and do that kind of thing. But I think more so he's going to be, like, he's a questing knight, so more than that, he'd be kind of looking at making like a knightly order than joining the Rod and Shield or something like that, you know. So he's still Glade Warden, he's still very much like he's a fighter first.
Well, see, because that's what the Rod and Shield kind of are, from my understanding. Is that
but he wouldn't be looking at joining a magical organization, you know, like,
because
to his core,
first.
he's a fighter. He's like, that's cool, and I could join it, but I'm going to go with these knights. Who are more down, because like he was Glade Warden for like 15 years before he knew he was magic. You know, he knows all the sword forms and stuff. So yeah, that's kind of where he's at. And I'm going into this with very little idea of his character. So I'm going to sit down one of these days and. Well, tonight, and do that 100 questions for your character thing, just to make sure I have a good sense of him going into it, you know?
Nice.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I think so. So that's that's his kind of.
So if you're
That's his character. If you're around, or if you want to have some backstory with him, real quick, message me in the past. But if you see him, stop by and say hi, because he wants to get embroiled in Dawn and he wants more friends.
Speaking of getting embroiled in Dawn,
quality content.
Quality content. We should also reset our recording. So are we getting so many drinks?
So, speaking of getting embroiled
in Dawn.
In Dawn, yes.
In Dawn.
There's a
unfortunately,
knock-on effect.
There's a bit of a knock-on effect, because every time Jim's character either dies or retires, that is seemingly the main way in which I get gamed. So, kind of why I'm wondering if you're going to be cavalier about things, to see if I have to actually drive my own game, or if I could just be reactionary to what your character is.
I think you're going to have to drive for a little while. I'm going to be less house-focused and more...
Oh, it's a cat.
It's the cat. I want more adventure.
Okay, so unfortunately, for Tig, Tig is now saddled with the earldom, because we've no more nobles in Gladeborn.
We have one more noble, but they're leaving the house.
Yeah. So, yes. So, as the only, PC, player character noble who's around, big boy Ty gets to step up, and it's going to be interesting, but I think I'm going to use this as an excuse to also get into a bit more of the Dawn game.
Yeah.
And to kind of, again, harken back to what we were saying last episode, and maybe at the start of this episode, about the tourneys and kind of just getting into that. I think I'm going to put Tig forward as the Knight Protector of Spring, which is going to be a tourney for...
That's very cool. I'm going to run against you.
I mean, nothing can stop you, I guess. But, yeah, I don't know. So, don't know exactly what way I'm going to go about it. There's kind of a little bit of, I don't want to say controversy, but I think it was...
There's a topic of some debate.
Yes. With regards to the last Knight Protector tourney, it was basically just, as you said, it was basically just two lines.
It was one, a line fight. It
was one for Aaron, one for Sir Guy. And from kind of what people were saying, I seemed to be kind of against the spirit of it, where, very all well and good to join up and have a buddy system going in to kind of basically all be like, oh, it's us for you, kind of goes against all that scrap. So I don't know if I want to go about it with going and drumming up support, but at the same time, that's a really nice way for me to go, an excuse for me to go around
and talk to everyone.
Yeah. So I'm still unsure about exactly what way I'm going to do that, or if I kind of want to just say, just want to do it via the Emerald Lance and kind of make a bigger deal about it, but I don't know, kind of we're going to see what happens, basically.
Yeah. But I mean, look, even whatever way it goes down, it'll be great to embroil us a little more in.
Yes, regardless of what avenue I choose, I think it's going to have an effect towards what we want it to be anyway, which is good.
Yeah, 100%.
And then obviously with being the Earl, I also don't see myself wanting to do the Earl's Councils or anything like that. It's just not really...
It's not our game.
It's not our game. Yeah. But what I'm actually really looking forward to is trying to get some good game with the other two Earls in the Lance, so Deoda and Guinevere, and kind of just talk to them about it, and
Because there's some stuff that's been going on Earl level that you don't know about.
Yeah, which I think is so kind of, I think that's going to be a really interesting thing, and so I'm going to use this opportunity to kind of do what you're doing as well, Jim, of not retcon Tig, but I've been playing Tig is very, very simple, but I believe he has more room to grow, and I just need an actual focus idea of what that is, because I've basically just been playing myself.
That's a thing, is Finton was getting very close to me just being Jim. Yeah. And I had the same thing. I was like, how do I make him different? And then this story beat came along in the downtime.
And that was a perfect opportunity.
Actually, I can just swap him out for another character here, which is perfect.
Yeah. So I'm taking the the hard road and not the coward's approach to this. And
That's Finton is the coward, not me. I'm
Of course.
Caspian. I'm cool and have decided on my voice.
Here's the thing about voices.
He's going to be Italian.
No.
Caspian do mare. Pleasure to meet you.
Interesting about voices. So, like, I think way back in episode 1, we kind of talked about, you know, what it was like coming from, like, D&D roleplay to LARP and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I think it's so much easier to maintain a voice for, like, a D&D session than it is
for a weekend.
Yeah. So I don't... But at the same time, I would love to give Tig more of a character voice just to...
So there's a big... Again, it's voice and accent, isn't it? So, like, when
Yes.
I say I haven't got a voice for Caspian, I'm just to differentiate him from Finton. I'm going to use a completely different cadence, and I'm considering using a slight accent.
Okay, interesting.
Just because he's going to be in the same group. A lot of his kit is going to be overlapped. I've tried to make it as different as I can. But obviously I'm not spending a huge amount of money.
Yeah.
But
limited time between the two events, like.
Between mannerisms and cadence, I just want to add a little bit of an accent in there just to differentiate him from Finton, because Finton was just using my voice with a bit of a haughty air to it. You know? But like, even if I just, even if it's a bit of a British accent or something on it, just to differentiate him. But it's not going to be. It's going to be an Italian accent.
That's also such a bad Italian. Mamma mia.
Molto bene. We must go and fight the Druj now, Ezio. He's going to be Ezio.
God damn it. Yeah, so, I don't know if I would like to... Because I think I've also gotten a lot better at voice acting and doing voices and stuff in general through D&D. So, like, but I think it's very, very different because I very rarely play a character in D&D. I'm always the DM. So, while my capacity to do voices has vastly improved, my capacity to carry a voice and be comfortable sitting in a voice for an entire weekend is not...
To keep it consistent and stuff?
Yeah, it's still something that's very... outside of my... I don't say... It's not outside of my capability, but it's outside of my realm of experience and comfort zone, for sure.
Because I tried that with the Ronan to Finton transition.
Yeah.
When Finton came back, obviously, first event, exact same kit. I think I bought a black bandana and a dagger to make him look like more of a ruffian. But I was like, fuck. So I did the same thing, and he came back and he was talking in a Northern Ireland accent.
Yeah.
And he showed up and he's like, hey, how's it going? I'm Finton, fucking Black Rock or whatever my name was. And like how quick that dropped.
Yeah.
Because like none of you guys could understand a word I was saying. And
we'll put subtitles down for what he said.
I don't know, it's like going, I was up north and I adopted the accent and don't know what I'm saying, but it's probably a little harder for you. Like, but I dropped it very quickly, which is something I'm going to try and avoid for Caspian. But that's the trap. That's the trap, is falling into an accent that's
unintelligible.
Not even unintelligible, but unmaintainable.
Yes. Yeah. True.
I'm gonna be so sunburned.
Oh, yeah. So. So. But at the same time, I think for Tig, I think it's maybe a good opportunity for me to bring that in and just be like, okay, I'm getting a nice fancy coat as well, which I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah.
So like, new coat, new position, new voice. Almost kind of like just like a reimagining.
A soft reboot.
It's like basically I think I'm gonna do a soft reboot, and something that like again we didn't do coming into our first event. We didn't really go in on what our characters are going to be, because we're just like, oh, we want to be lads with swords.
We had the broadest archetype in that we wanted to be knights.
Yeah.
Like. And it's funny because I've gone completely away from that.
Yeah. I'm very much leaning into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think I really want to be able to sit down and kind of be like, okay, who is this character? And I think actually a lot of this is, I don't know if we said this in the first part of you want to recap, but like, I was so impressed with Ben's portrayal of Percival.
Yeah,
and how
absolutely.
well
you get a sense of that character the second you speak to him.
And even like his voice isn't that much different, but just he carries himself like,
you can tell when you're talking to Ben and you can tell when you're talking to Percival.
Yeah,
and it's a very subtle difference, but you can always tell.
And I haven't tried to really portray that for Tig as much.
Yeah,
I kind of just assume that. And I try to say in character, and I don't like to break character, so I always assume that I'm speaking as Tig. But I don't think that's very noticeable probably from the outside. So I'd love to be able to kind of get to that more.
That line of differentiation.
Yeah.
And how are you planning on doing that? Like what's your first? And this is a question from me to you. What's your first like physical step you're going to take when like time in sounds? How are you? B. It's a B. It's got beef with me. Yeah. What's the first thing you're going to do to make that apparent to people when you're like, this is Tig? Do you know yet? Or?
I don't know yet, but I think the other element as well, and I might be taking off a lot more than I can chew here, but what I'd like to be able to do is kind of just get a little bit more, have a bit more of a change in my physicality.
Yeah.
So even if it's just a case of like, I never sit like this, I'll always sit like this.
Yeah, for sure.
And kind of just have that kind of, on the physical level, the mannerisms of like someone who, you know, is a master at arms, who is an earl, who, you know, is like a...
So physical presence.
Physical presence, I think, is something I want to be able to do, and I should be able to do that. I'll need to remind myself, and it's going to be a constant effort, but like, I can do that, because it's basically going back to my karate days. I'm like, oh, just stand the way I had to stand when I was a karate instructor, or when I was doing a kata or something. You know, it's
for sure.
It's that thing. So I think I have that within me, and then, you know, I think my main kind of only character beat with Tig was I was very kind of like, he was simple and straightforward. He wasn't an idiot, but like he's direct,
reserved,
and much like if you're caught up with Hearthfiretales, you'll know James' character Con,
who you also won't understand on account of a northern accent.
But you know, you kind of talked about how sometimes Con was hard to play because it's like,
because he's
not hard to play, but
limiting to play because of his stoicism. It oftentimes limited how he could react in a scene, and I felt like, God, I would have loved to have said that, but there's no way for Khan to meaningfully engage with a character he doesn't know that way.
Yeah.
You know, shit like that. Whereas Caspian could be like, oh, I don't know you, but that looks shit. Are you all right? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, which Finton could have done to a degree, like, you know.
Yeah,
but I just needed the fresh breath.
I think that absolutely makes sense. So I think, for me, it's going to be a case of I really need to first delve into who I want him to be beyond those kind of like, I'm a sword himbo, you know. I'm dying.
I'll take it over.
So yeah, I think if I get the character nailed, then that will inform a lot more of what I do. That mixed with physicality and maybe just a deeper voice. If I kind of just speak more like this.
Oh yeah, I'll go the other way. And I'll just talk more like this. How's it going? My name's Sir Cass.
Yeah, you're on a cruise.
Yeah, that's what my ship is. It's a cruise. I'm looking for paid actors.
But yes, I think that's kind of how I'm going to about it. But I think really it's the same as you're going to do those 100 questions. I might do similar. Well, we're almost done, I think, for this one.
I think we're almost there. Yeah, for sure. I think, no, yes, there's a few more things to come.
Well, one big one.
Go on. Yeah, with this one. Sorry, guys, 1 second. Just a little internal.
Hang on. Hang on, we're gonna cut for time.
This?
Yeah, it's probably like, it means.
Oh no, that was my next point.
Okay, great.
And then,
because we've done.
Do you know what you're doing with this though?
To be honest, I think that can be scrapped. I think that's fine.
Yeah, you guys don't need that.
Yeah, I've talked around it.
In that case,
grand.
Look, we've hit that. We've hit that. We've hit that. So it's just this one.
I think it is just that one.
Let's talk about money.
Now, as you know, Glade Warden are famously with money. Insert whatever adjective you want.
It's not a problem for us, but at the same time, it is a problem for us.
Yeah.
Although I would like to boast that
it's not much of it.
There's like 3 thrones in this box.
For a year of playing the game.
But our new character.
And you may right on time.
You may have noticed. Take a bow.
Yeah, it's not really much of a secret. It's been there the whole time.
So, our new character, Caspian Dumarin, Caspian Dumal.
He looks kind of like this.
This is him canonically, yeah. No, this is Knife Gnome. He often has a knife.
Yeah.
Yes, so...
Got a knife, yeah.
He is a...
That's more
like
like a
I
goblin.
said...
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was the smut goblin
That was the
coming
smut goblin coming out. Yeah. He is, like I said, he's a bit of a privateer, and he spends a lot of time on islands and shit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And one of those islands, turned out, he found quite a bit of treasure on
Yeah.
it. Represented by my lovely haul here. So, a lot of this isn't treasure, but we have some lovely bits and pieces that he has found, and will be selling. Hopefully
Yeah.
not himself, because we can't.
One you're
also-
we're both like I'm the earl, you're also a noble. It's
Yeah, we need to
improper.
find out, can we hire a seneschal or like get a yo to do it or something?
If you're like looking for some game, maybe it's your first event or something, and you're watching this and you want something to do, we will pay you. We will pay you hard money,
Fake money.
fake money, but it is hard, and it'll probably be hard to sell.
It could be this money.
It could be this money. We will pay you money to sell our shit because
But
we
look,
can't
no,
do it.
and look, so actually, also
But it
on
is
his,
good-
on
it is
his
good stuff.
travels, he's picked up, he knew the
I'm burning up so much.
so fucking hot.
It's so warm
He
here.
knew the flower market was coming, so we actually do have every kind of flower under the sun, and they're all pins.
Yeah.
So you can put them wherever you want. And we are going to be selling these for the Flower Festival at E2.
I'm gonna keep this one because gold is obviously a Glade Warden color.
Look
so-
how quickly I became Dawnish. It could be this easy for you. Just find us in the field. Look for the flowery box.
Yep.
Ooh, phrasing. And this glory could be yours. Right. It's too hot, guys. We're going. Goodbye. Have we anything else we need to say? If you find yourself, we're going to be running the Glade Warden sword training again, a little more structured this time. You can come over and join in with that if you want. Just find us in the field at time in. We'll let you know when it is and stuff. But it's proper sword exercise and reflexive exercise and stuff from our OC training. So you might enjoy it.
Also, because it's not something we do enough, check out Hearthfiretales. Myself and Jim are part of a part of a D&D podcast called Hearthfiretales, where we're actually pretty good. We've been like #1 in the Irish charts. We have
number 3 in, what was it, Sweden or something?
We're doing really well in Italy at the moment.
This is why I know who's listening to me.
We've never done an Italian accent, thankfully.
Ezio Auditore.
But yeah, we've done a whole heap of live shows at conventions. We've done our own live show in a theatre and stuff.
Yeah, that went really well.
Gone really, really well. So check us out. That would be great.
Yeah, anywhere you get your podcasts.
Yep.
And if you want to learn fantasy sword fighting, check out Wayoftheheron as well.
Yep.
Okay, we're done. It's too hot. It's too hot.
To bring up a way outdated and overquoted movie, milk was a bad choice.